Hello everyone, this is not going to be a good review. I went to Royal Quest and I watched it live, and for me I don't think I can give an objective, I'm not going to give star ratings on a show I saw live with a load of people after having a few drinks, rather than just sitting at home and just proper studying it myself. I guess if I rate matches, I take those ratings somewhat seriously, and I feel like my own slight credibility, which I only have in my own ability, is questioned if I'm rating things after having several drinks. So what I'll do is I'll cover the card and then I'll have a few extra notes as someone who hasn't travelled to London for a couple of years. So first, Youngblood versus Greedy Souls. I'm not gonna pretend I'm up to date with the British scene. I'm not. Trying to hop between WWE, AEW, and New Japan is itself a chore, so it's not like I have time for that sort of research. To the right behind me were a load of tickets that weren't sold when I bought my ticket, and I only bought mine like 2 days before. It was filled with either big local fans, possibly plants, or maybe just people that helped set up the ring or something. Either way, their main goal was to try and just start any chant at any time, so there's always some noise, which is pretty great. But it seemed like they knew these are Greedy Soul lads, so there was a good reaction of everyone, which is pretty sweet. This match wasn't much. Youngblood, I'm not seeing too much of note. Just some very basic stuff, like Oscar did some tackles, he did some slams. Yuto at least did some mid kicks, which looked kind of sweet. I mean, it's probably pretty early in their development, but I'm not seeing too much different from the young lions at the minute. It's, they haven't been gone too long, so there's still a lot of time. But I'm just a little concerned they're going to come back and be a little bit generic. Hopefully they get a few singles matches in during this time, because they're going to have to do singles at some point, and it's going to help them a lot, I think. Next up, Taiji Ishimori and X versus Danny Black and Joe Lando. I was personally very excited for this one. I was there for Joe Lando's first training day. I was training at the time. Promptly gave up for many reasons. But he was talented from the get-go. He could already do all these cool flips and stuff that I could only dream of. I'm so happy he's doing so well. I think he had a DPW booking not so long ago as well, so I think he's cooking, and I'm very happy for him. They were fodder to Robbie X, the New Japan Bullet Club guy. Match was pretty short and sweet. If you love athletic stuff, this is the match for you. Just cartwheel evade, shooting star presses, just everything under the sun. Robbie X wins with a spiral tap, which is some stuff I haven't seen in a while. I think Robbie X looks like a great addition. I think he can really knock out the park if the ball is in his court, if he gets the opportunity and a push later on down the lines. I think he'd do great. There's also this sweet teaming head kick into the sliding German. So they've already got some cool tag team stuff down already. So I'm pretty excited to see what these two super talented guys could do in the ring as a tag. And it'd probably be refreshing for Ishimori to be head of the tag scene. You got a lot going on the singles. Ishimori's done a lot in the single scene. I've been quite critical of him for his lack of charisma, but I think something like this, putting him up as the top ace heel tag team, replacing the War Dogs, I think that'd be pretty sweet. Danny Luna and Azumi versus Kanji and Mina Shirakawa. Crowd were very torn on Mina and Azumi, which is pretty sweet. Again, everyone was over, everyone was just chanting for everyone, so it was just a good vibe and a good time. It's about this point I decided I'm not taking photos, I'm slightly too far away, and I'd already had about 3-4 drinks at this point, so I was like, nah, this is just gonna be a waste of time, let's just enjoy the show, because they're not gonna look good. In some ways, it's a surprising finish. You'd think that Mina, is kind of a big name, you give her a big win when they do shows overseas, but they do have to set up a challenger, so a bit of a shock victory, but it makes a lot of sense. It was a solid match. Grizzle Vet promo, which teased challenging Ishii and Tanahashi for the tag titles heavily, rather than TMDK, which was pretty good in my eyes. I thought it was pretty obvious that TMDK were winning, but this sort of tilted my, I thought I was a 10% chance that Tanahashi and Ishii win now to maybe a 30% chance. For me, that helped my investment in the semi. Oku versus Fujita. Good match. I could see Oku sticking around, maybe doing Best of Super Juniors next year. He seemed to fit in fine. There's some weird little scrappy roll-up stuff with a Chaos Theory that wasn't very smooth, but that got counted into a roll-up, which also didn't look too smooth. But I'm just nitpicking here, really. I like the roll-up finish. It looked convincing. That's the biggest challenge, I think, sometimes these roll-up finishes, that it doesn't look like they should stay down for free. But this worked. He looked down. It made sense. It was a good trap. Fan of this. Suji versus Driller Maloney. The fans kind of went into overdrive for this one. We sang, yes, sir, we can Suji. Walking in the Suji Wonderland. Suji's gold. Gold. So yes, a lot of singing, so much so that Driller had to acknowledge it by giving us his own Gene Blast. Yeah, Driller fits right in. He didn't look... Well, I mean, to be fair, he should be heavy anyway. Look at the lad. But yeah, Gene Blast 1, 2, 3. The show had a lot of these matches where Show had a few of these matches where you knew who was going to win, but that doesn't, that's not a bad thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with being able to predict a result. If it makes sense for the story, makes sense for the company, then it makes sense. We've all watched shows where we know what's probably going to happen next. Why? Because it makes sense. Newman versus Shota. I definitely wanted to join in this one. I find the narrative of Shota getting booed very fun, so I started a fuck 'em up Newman chant at the start, and booed whenever I saw fit. I feel kind of bad because this was a pretty damn good match. Shota looked really good. He was always going to win this, like topple Newman. As soon as you saw the match, it was like, oh, he's getting his revenge for the G1. Makes sense. Great match. Death Rider. Not even the lifting version, I don't think. I don't remember it. This was, I think, the best match on the card at this point. The Driller match was good, but this one's just a little bit spicier. These guys both move quite quickly. They're a bit slimmer than the other two, which is weird because they're both heavyweights, and Driller's like not, but I thought this was the best match to this point. Finlay comes out and starts hating on the Brits. You love to see it. We deserve it, to be fair. So, I'm caught on two things on this. Like, you can't really go out and have amazing matches with the British crowd. If you're looking for, like, a New Japan experience from a 1.5k English crowd, it's not going to happen. It's just going to be an English indie crowd. We're going to sing. We're going to say dumb stuff. I don't want to say we don't pay attention to the matches, but some people are going to be more focused on creative chants than doing the matches. Another reason why I don't want to rate this, because I felt like all we did was sing, which is fun, and I had a great time, but it's not really the solid, normal New Japan classic experience, right? You don't go to these shows expecting New Japan, or you shouldn't, I should say. You should be expecting a British indie with New Japan talent. But yeah, part of me wanted a long competitive match, but it doesn't make sense, because what? It's Taka, he's not booked at that level at all, and he's a junior. And Finlay's a top heel, leader of a faction. Like, he shouldn't be going long with Taka. So while I wanted to see, like, an amazing Taka match, maybe the best we've seen him in a long time, because he doesn't get these opportunities, this was going to get the biggest reaction doing this sort of stuff. So, smart, but, part of me wanted a better actual match. But yeah, Finlay comes out, cuts a promo, says he won't face Taka unless he beats Ghetto. So we get a Taka-Ghetto match, which is interesting. And it's exactly what you wanted to see from Taka. A few eye pokes, super kick, face lock, tap out. We abused Finlay for being born in Germany. We were chanting, "You're not even Irish." I assume that's what that was about. I don't know. I was just in it for the fun. But yeah, the match goes, the just face lock, tap out on Ghetto. Finlay jumps in. They have a match that goes like 2 minutes. Very fun. Not amazing wrestling, but a very fun sequence of events, which for a live crowd was very, very fun. I don't know how it came off at home. Maybe not as well, but I enjoyed it vastly. But it's not going to be peak wrestling this year, is it? Ryohei Oiwa, Robbie Eagles and Mascara Dorada versus Bushi Hiromu Naito. Fans were very into the Naito striptease. And when he revealed the t-shirt Naito chant started, which was pretty fun. I could hear Dueling Shanks saying he's not working in there too. T-shirt Naito, he's not working. Which is pretty fun. We then had a solid minute where Robbie Eagles teased off taking his shirt as we were chanting T-shirt Robbie. I feel like Naito and Oiwa didn't really do much. You were hoping if they're going to do this match, maybe they're doing it at the Dome or something, that they'd tease a bit more like something. But for me, it felt like, well, Naito didn't do anything much really. He did do a Destino, like a running one, but I felt like both of those guys didn't do too much. Also, I've just noticed now his official nickname is The Grip. The Grip. Between The Grip and the Gene Blast, they could be a tag team. God, called, I don't know, highly suggestible. I don't know. But yes, this match existed. Titan beat Mascara Dorada. And then, yeah, we got our Naito feel for the night. Also, I'd love to see more Dorada. I miss seeing that man spin on the ropes. That was good stuff. Alright, then we get to the big matches. TMDK, Shane Haste, and Mad Mikey Nichols against Ishii and Tanahashi. As I said earlier, I actually thought we might get new tag team champions because that promo earlier, like the Grizzled Young Vets were teasing big that they're going to face Tanahashi and Ishii. Standard tag stuff, really. This match, again, standard tag stuff, really. Again, Tanahashi isn't going to give you a 5-star performance anymore. He's just not. That's why he's retiring, because he is struggling. But still fun, well worked, very enjoyable. This was like a main event of a tag league night. That's what it felt like. The promo package built up the Tank Buster as this big move. Of course, they kicked out of it, but then they get the win, the Super Tank Buster. So, but yeah, the tag scene's probably where Tanahashi should be at the minute. I don't know what their plans for Ishii is long term, but him being the guy that takes a load of damage so Tanahashi can have a semi-decent retirement, I hope they reward him with something. Part of me says I hope they give him the title for a short amount of time, but I think they've already phased him out of that scene. Also, come on, I'm full on the Goto train, give the Goto. And your main event, Zack versus Sanada for the title. The crowd for this one particularly insane. You're getting chants calling Sanada a Tory, chanting every single Zack chant in the world. This was the only match where the TMDK chant actually worked. A lot of people kept trying to start them, and then was like, I can't really be bothered to chant for TMDK. But for this match, they'll chant anything if it was pro Zack. Sanada played on pretty well the crowd, probably more so than most people, which probably helped. I was just watching this thinking this goes against like the Zack stuff where you say like you can't perform a high art match in front of the American audience, they won't get it. I was like, well, we're just kind of singing while you're doing this stuff. Like, part of me feels like we should act like a New Japan crowd purely for Zack, just to give him a little. Me and a few other people were telling Sanada to break the skull end and go for the moonsault, and it worked. I'm claiming an assist for that. But yeah, fantastic match. Like, this is the only match I would probably say was close to 4 stars. Again, I'd have to rewatch it, but I always love Zack and Sanada matches, and this was at least a 4, if not higher. Zack gets the win with submission, which kind of, to me, felt out of nowhere a little bit. I thought the match was going to go on a couple of minutes longer, but got the submission. We all celebrated, brought out the band. We all had a laugh. Time to go home. I know some people are going to be disappointed in this. I know the first Raw Quest was bigger, had like the big stars on it, had that Okada-Suzuki match. You know, Zack does that promo at the end saying, hey, I'm not the first British champion, but I'm the first one to win the G1 and bring the belt home. That's another thing we got of a lot of Zack's brought it home chants, and he challenged the football team to repeat his success, which, And I think a lot of people were annoyed that it wasn't that big of a show compared to previous. I heard some people saying it's a glorified hell show. Apart from the big tournaments and the, maybe 5 or 6 shows a year, this is probably the sort of card you're going to get on most New Japan shows, you know? That Destruction Tour was full of one-match shows. At least we had like 2 title matches on here. Shota Callum was kind of a big match, you know? Those are 2 featured stars over the past 6 months. Suji in the singles, which he was always going to win because it's against Driller, who's in the small department, the small man department. But if I was to rate this show as a wrestling show out of 10, I'd still probably give it, 6.5, 7. It was a good show, it was good fun. Maybe it came off better live than at home, but I had a great experience and I thought the wrestling was pretty good. But now that that's done, let's talk about what I really want to talk about. They had 1 canned drink they were selling. Like everything else was just like cheap drinks I wasn't interested in. They were selling Copperberg though, but £7 a can? I spent nearly 50 quid on drinks. I could have just got something else, but when I saw Copperberg, I was like, that's my go-to, so I was like, we're going to do this. The arena, because it's a leisure centre, had a lot of room to get up and walk about. Like, it wasn't difficult to get to anything. There wasn't a queue for the toilet. Because, only 1.5k. That's the advantage of this kind of show. Atmosphere was cool. The chairs were killing me towards the end a little bit, but what can you do about that? When I went to get drinks, actually, after the first match, I heard the person serving someone next to me, and they were like, so how was the first round? Like, that long pause. I didn't know what to call it, which was hilarious to me. But yes, travelling, that was a thing. So I got in a taxi, take me to the train station, because I didn't want to park at the train station. That costs a lot of money. This guy cuts us up on the parkway, and I'm like, it feels like there's a lot of bad drivers on the road. Like, a family member of mine was recently in, like, a car crash. I mean, they're fine. But I was like, this stuff I'm kind of noticing. He's like, yeah, look, I'll show you something. So we get to the next exit to, go to the centre of town. And on that roundabout, the exact same person that overtook us slid out and crashed into the side of the roundabout. And he goes, here, there's always crashes here. Told you I'd show you. And I'm just sitting there like, did you will this to happen? Is this some black magic? This person cut you off and you curse them to crash? Insane. And then as soon as I get to London, I didn't plan which underground I would get, which was my fault, my bad. But I was like, okay, I'm just going to refresh. Okay, Victoria, we'll go from there. 1, wrong choice. I would have had to get a bus, and who wants to deal with buses? Just keep me on the train, please. But 2, literally, as soon as I stood perfectly still, someone shouted fire, and then they kicked us out of the Victoria thing. I was like, okay, so, do I have to get out the whole train station? Is it a big fire? Can I get a different tube? Stood there for 30 seconds and saw no one else was moving anywhere, so I was like, I guess I get a different train? Then I got on the wrong one because I think 3 different trains go down the same line, so I had to find a quick change for 1 station. And I had to go on the overground, which I had to pay for because it doesn't get caught by the day rider I got. So, you know, usual London fun and games. But yes, between the fire and the car crash, that was an interesting trip there. You know, I barely got there for doors open. Actually, I had to stand there for half an hour in like a single file line going like up and around a set of stairs. Very weird. They should have just set up like a, I don't know, like a weaving fence or something. But instead, we were just kind of single file going round the bridge and down like 2 flights of stairs, like back into the Crystal Palace Park, which was odd. Not how I would have set it up, but I guess it worked. All worth it though to see a good show. Let me know if you like these. I'll continue making these sort of videos. If not, maybe I won't, because I just feel, I don't know, these don't feel great. I just kind of turn on camera and talk. Maybe I should make less videos, but like less just me talking to a camera, because it feels lazy. But until later, peace out everyone, take care, see you soon, bye.